Hey folks, this is Anthony from FLX Adventures. Today is December 29th, 2022, and that means that April 1st is only about 3 months away. I live in Irondequoit, New York, primarily fish out of I Bay when I'm fishing Lake Ontario. In Lake Ontario, around April 1st, the browns come in, and the brown trout fishing is fantastic. Right up on shore. Primarily, I'll fish out of I Bay. I'll fish from Webster Park all the way up to I Bay and back, and have really good luck fishing there last year. Today, I wanted to show you one of the setups that produced a ton of fish for us last year, and that's just a simple one color setup. So I have a couple of these reels here. This is a Daiwa Sea Line 47 SH. These were handed down to me actually from my old man, who was an avid Keuka Lake fisherman, and these clean up really well. I do the drags and all the replacements every year, and they work out really well. They're, I like to call them, kind of bomb-proof. So what is a one-color lead core? One-color lead core is 10 yards or 30 feet of weighted line. It sinks down about 5 feet. Once you put it out back, and maybe you're back 100 feet, if you have some backing or something in between the board, you're probably down between 8 or 10 feet. So if you're fishing like 20 foot of water, this is a really good way to get right in the middle of that water column. Yeah, so that's it. Stay tuned, and I'll show you all the intricacies of setting up a one color lead core. So a one color lead core setup is a pretty simple setup. Again, right, 10 yards, 30 feet. There's some intricacies there. Also, you know, when you're fishing for browns, you don't need really heavy tackle. Actually, the lighter the better, the more forgiving, right? They're very, very spooky fish, right? I only fish with 10-pound fluorocarbon for those fish specifically, so you definitely need to have something light set up that's real forgivable. So when you're fighting them, right, a lot of bend, very gentle, kind of get them into the boat. One of the reels that I have to use, and I don't have a lot, but this is my Sea Line 47 SH from Japan, high-speed reel. It's, you know, a rock solid reel. I repair them and clean them up every year. This one, I actually have 4 of these, were handed down to me from my father, who is an avid Keuka Lake fisherman down in the Finger Lakes. He's have a lot of miles on. They've caught a ton of fish, and they're rock solid. I call them, they're really like bomb-proof reels. So if you see some out there, you can definitely get a couple of them fairly affordable, and you can redo them with washers and whatnot, and do all the drag setup and redo all their drags and make them really good reels. And they're great. They're really great for browns. So one of the things with this reel is that there's still some backing on here, right? So the backing here, I'll just show you that right here. The backing is still there from fishing last year, and I want to set this up fairly fresh. So the backing on here is, I think this is a 20-pound or a 30. It's a 30-pound Power Pro braided line. I want to actually take that off. One of the ways I do that, because I don't have a lot of stuff. Right, I've only been fishing here. It's another story, but I've only been fishing here for about 4 years by myself, fishing with my old man. There was many years I was a youngin'. But one of the things I like to do is have fresh lines, and to get this line off really quickly, it's a pretty simple process, right? I'll put this here so you can see this. I'll put this here in a vise. Pretty simple, and I'll crank it up. And I will use, oh yeah, that's right, I'll use a drill and some painter's tape, and that will allow me to take this off real quick. So here, I'm gonna switch cameras and show you how that's done. All right, folks, I got my drill, 1/2-inch bit, a blood run. This is probably from my blood run sea flea that I run in the summer when I fish at Cayuga. It's a whole nother story. So I got my line, painter's tape, taped to the spool. I got my bit and my drill, and all I do is hit the button and de-spool the reel. Boom, done. All right, one of the things you may have noticed here at the end, and this is bad, I can't believe I did this. I'll should be fired from my job here from videotaping you for you. But one of the things I did not have is I did not have some mono tied to the spool. There's a really good reason for that. It's a whole nother lesson, but essentially you can do that and make it nice and tight, so if you ever get down to the end of the spool, you have kind of like a backing here that won't slip. This slipped. This was bad. Anyways, but if you don't have a nice way to de-spool the line from your reels, again, right, all you need is a nice drill, some leftover spools, and a drill. Pretty simple stuff. All right, folks, let's do some math here. Right, so we know that one color is 10 yards, or 30 feet. I like to run typically like 100 feet behind the board, if not more. So I'm going to do a few different things here, right? So I got my 30 feet, but I want to be to 100. So I'm going to probably do a 50-foot, 10-pound fluoro. It's a lot, but by the time brown trout season ends and I've trimmed off some of those imperfections, right, you're probably going to be looking at 40, maybe even 30. So that's 80, right? So I got to make up 20. So then I want 20 feet of braid. And then from there, I'm going to probably behind the board or somewhere in the board, I'm going to put in 5 feet of 30-pound mono to lock the board into. We'll get into that later, right? So that's where I want to be, right? I want 30 feet of lead core, which is a one color, 50 feet of fluoro, 10 pound, 20 foot of braid, and then 5 foot of 30-pound mono. So that's where I'm going to be. So that's the setup I'm going to run. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. All right, one of the things I believe firmly in is having your reels 80% filled. And the way you can achieve that with a reel without a line counter is actually spool it in reverse. So put your mono on first, put your mono into your lead core, reel that in, right? And then do your backing. And then once that's 80% filled, pull it out all with a reel, and then reel it all back in again. I mean, yes, it is like super time consuming, but it really, honestly, it just takes out all the guesswork. So here, let's take this here. I'm going to bring this under. I just like to go under. Here. Grab that. And this doesn't have to be too crazy. But if you really wanted to do it right, if you were doing mono to the back, which we will later, you can do it like that. Do one overhand, the second overhand, and then bring it down. And if you really wanted to get crazy, which you should be doing with the mono backing, in case you get spooled, right? Just tie a little knot here in the line. Bring it all the way down. And if things are done appropriately, when you pull this should slide all the way down. Let's see if it works. And it did. From there, I'll just take a little crimp off of what's left over. Alright. So now I have pre-spooled here. See if you can see that. I got a pre-spooled 50 10-pound mono. I measured that out with my ruler. 50 pulls if you just do it right. Pretty simple. And I got my rule. I got my reel. See if we can get that all in. Perfect. Lock this up. And do my 50. Alright, that's my 50. One of the knots I like to do for my mono to my lead core, especially the lead core that I've gotten, I'm not a big fan of it. Typically I would run the mono inside to the sheathing, and then tie an overhand knot, it's not going anywhere ever. But this, I don't know what it is, but this lead core, frankly, is not my favorite. I would probably never buy it again. I think this is the Tough Line lead core. Not a fan, or it's a little bit micro. The micro makes it really hard. So if I'm going to do that, right, I'm going to die a double uni knot. Also a really good knot. So for me, double uni knot, and I can go over this again, is one loop and then wrap it. I like to wrap this at least 5 times. 6 is my favorite. 4, 6. Pull it down. Maybe let it down a little bit so it doesn't burn. Pull it again. Where did you go, you line there? There you are. Pull it again. It doesn't have to be super tight yet because it's going to cinch down on itself in a little bit. And then same thing on the other side, right? Let's take a little bit here, a double uni. So we're going to go just a little bit more slack. And then we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to pull this on ever so nice and neat, slow. Pull it out if I need to, because I really want this to look really nice. It performs better when it's all nice and uniform, and that one is. That's a pretty one. And then I'm going to take these two, I'm going to pull them. They're going to cinch on each other real nice. I'm going to take the back end of this and just give it a little bit. Make sure it's wrapped down nice and neat. Got a really, really nice knot. From there, I'm going to cut the ends off. I'm going to leave a little bit off for stretch. It's one of the things I've learned. So just a little bit for stretch. Same thing with this one. Just in case there's a little stretch, I'm going to leave a little bit out there. And now we have our double uni. Really nice knot. So from there, I'm going to reel in again. My one color. I'm going to take this, actually I'm going to throw it on my line spooler, because you want to make sure that you're always spooling this in a spooling direction, like if your line is spooling or your cassette is spooling, so it doesn't get spun around. So here we are. I'm going to do that one color. And there it is. There's my one color. All nice and neat. So if we remember our math, right, I need 20 feet of braid. I already got my 50 pound of fluoro. I want my 20 feet of braid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure that off, put this aside, get my ruler, and just get my 20 poles here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It's about a nice 20 feet, and I want to cut that here. And I'm going to add that on here to my lead core. Now what's really important is, again, I'm a really big fan of the double unis, so I'm going to double uni this one here, same way, get that out of the way. Alright, so double uni. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give this a nice pull. Spread it out if I need to. There's one of those. And then I am going to give myself a little bit here. Do the same thing. I'm going to give myself a little bit more space here. There we go. Give it another double uni. So we're going to go 1, oops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing. I'm going to spread this out. Make sure it doesn't get knotted. Sometimes braid doesn't like to cooperate. There we go here. Oh, look how pretty that is. So I got a uni and a uni. These are going to butt right up on top of each other. Make a nice, really strong knot. So right now we have in the spool 50 foot of 10-pound fluoro. We have 10 yards or 30 feet of the lead core and 20 feet of braid. So that gives us 100 feet behind the board. So it's roughly where I want to be. The next thing I want to do is, one of the things I like a lot here is taking some mono, some real heavy mono, like a 30-pound mono. That's heavy for me. And putting about, 5 feet in between the backer and the 100 feet behind the board. And the reason I do that is it's really easy to attach the board to fluoro, not so much to braid unless you have the right stuff. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to get 10. We'll go with 10 of that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. About 10, so I'm going to cut that here, roughly. And again, I'm going to use a double uni. Super easy knot, super durable. Let's see here. I'm going to go do this real simple. So double uni. So I'm going to pull this out, hold it tight, and I'm going to do 5 wraps. This one actually I'm going to do 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and one more, 7, and with a nice pull. Pull this out a little bit here. There we go. Nice. That's like a nice one right there. Nice and tight. Alright. I like to turn these around. I kind of just do them in the same hand. So again, I'm going to do the same concept. 1. This one, I'm going to do 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. I notice when you're working with heavier mono, things get a little bit harder to work with these knots. So I'm just going to lick that, put some water on that. There we go. And that'll make it tighten a little bit. Again, these mono ones are a little harder, so I'm going to pull. And then I'm going to cinch these together. And then we'll push them in on top of each other. I'm going to pull this a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to cinch it again. Nice tight knot. You can kind of see that here. And then I'm going to clip a little bit of this, not a lot, just a little tag in case we get a little stretch. Same thing on the other side. In case we get a little bit of stretch. Actually pull here, looks good. And I'm going to reel that in. Always put some tension on that. Let's see here. Alright. So on the spool right now, we have 50 feet, 10-pound fluoro, 30 feet or 10 yards of a one-color lead core, and 20 feet of braid, giving us 100 feet with a 5 foot of 30-pound fluoro to tie to the board. And next we're going to put on our backing. So the backing again, right, what is my favorite knot? We all know the double uni. Pretty simple here. So I'm going to do the double uni. I'm going to take this, I'm going to wrap this around. This is going to be 6 times. That's 4, 5, and that's 6. Alright, that looks good. My backing here is a 40-pound braid, and that usually works really good in the spring, especially when I'm working with such higher depths in the water column, right? So do here, do another uni. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to pull that up, pull it apart here, make sure there's a nice, it doesn't bunch up like it's doing a little bit. Don't bunch up. There we go. That's a nice one. See how, if you look close, right, it's really pretty, like really nice wrapped in on the 30-pound fluoro. We're going to pull these together. They're going to cinch on top of each other. I'm going to pull the mono just a little bit. Tighten it up. Pull tight. Excellent. Alright. I'm going to clip that. And again, I like to leave just a little bit on here. That's a little bit too much. And then same thing with the mono. Just a little bit on the tag. Alright, there we go. So I have a nice knot there to keep these all together. And from there, I'm going to use my 40-pound braid, and I'm going to fill it up 80%. Alright, well, let's see here. So, it's close to 80%. If you look here, right, it's close. And I think that's good. So, if you're like me and you have 2 reels, the nice thing here is you can clip this off. Now, if you're going from one reel to another reel, like I am here, I don't have to take this off. What I can do is I can just put this up on the vise and reel this in and fill up the spool. And because now it's backwards and I put it on first, I know exactly how much to put on. Again, I think it's really important that each reel has a little bit of mono on for the beginning of the backing. I think mono sticks to the spool a little bit better than braid. Braid will tend to slip. And then if you ever get a slip or something crazy like that, you know, and you get spooled, you're never going to be able to get the fish back in. So, here I'm just going to tie this real quick. And again, I think I showed this, right? I'm just going to do a quick double overhand knot. Let's see here. I'll do one. And I'll do another. And then I'm going to pull and tighten it. I'm going to put a knot on the end of the tag. I made it, well, I tried to make it long on purpose and I'm pretty sure I screwed that up. But, alright, there's my knot on the end. That's excellent. So if I pull it, it'll lock right on, it'll lock exactly on the spool, and it locks nice and tight. So if you ever get a spool, hopefully, it'll be able to get out of that. Just like that. Alright. Alright, there's that. Alright, so now that we have our reel at about 80%, 85% full, I am going to take this and I am going to tie this to the mono backing that I put up here on this other reel using a, yep, you guessed it, double uni knot. So on the mono, I like to do like 5 or 6. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5. Give it a yank. A little moisture. Let it slide a little nicer. There we go. And then on the braid, same idea. This one I'll probably do more like 7. So it's 1, 2, 3, oops, 4. I'm going to start that one over. I think I looped at the wrong spot. So here and loop. 1. There we are. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 wraps. Give it a nice pull. Also, again, I like to kind of stretch this out and don't let it lump up. Give it a nice wrap on the line, just like that. You can see that. It's real nice and pretty, nice clean wrap. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to pull them on top of each other and cinch them. A nice double uni, cinching on itself. Leave a little bit on the tag, not much. That one, a little on the tag, but not much. A nice little heave. That looks excellent. So from there, I'm going to reel in the remaining line. That's 85% on the other spool. And again, that's got inside the spool, it's got 50 foot of 10-pound fluoro, 10 yards of 30 feet of 1-core lead core, 20 feet of braid, plus a 5-foot 30-pound section to clip on the inline board. There's the 30-pound mono for the board. There's the 20 foot of 30-pound braid. There goes the lead core. There goes the leader. Ooh, you are sticky on that thing. There you are. And I'll do is I'll just take a quick cut here. And there we go. So here we go. Real nice, pretty 85% full. 1-color lead core, ready to go on a rod. Catch some brownies.